friends, as you guys can see from the title, today will be my last round of Shop My Stash for the year. This is something that I introduced this year where I wanted to pull out palettes to play around with them for the month, see what I liked, see what I didn't like. That's how I ended up decluttering so many palettes this year. That's how I ended up finding my way back into my eyeshadow palettes, and I'm hoping to do something similar next year with my singles, pigments, cream shadows, cream sticks, so on and so forth. So I'm actually excited for this round. I now realize that last month I forgot to include one, so I'll make sure to include that in my spreadsheet. So not today, but in the month of December, I am going to give you statistics. Which one was my most used palettes, which one was my ones that I used the most in Project Pan. So I'll give you guys all those statistics. Once I enter all of these into my spreadsheet and then do all my calculations, then I will share with you guys my statistics. All right, you guys. So I have this month 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 palettes to share with you guys. Hopefully I counted right because I'm always wrong. So if you're interested to see what 9 palettes I used this past month, stay tuned. All right, so first up is the one that my daughter keeps bugging me to give to her. She always takes my Alter Ego palettes because she loves them to death. This is the Mist Haven palette. So this palette I ended up using 3 times this past month. I ended up really enjoying this one. This one gave me very soft looks, softer, cooler tone looks. It went well with bold lips. I really enjoyed it. These shimmer shades were more of like a subtle shimmery shades. I compared a whole video on this one, pretty grunge palette from Huda, as well as any other dupes that I had in my collection. So if you're interested, I love the fact that this is a magnetic, so you can rearrange them, pull out from other palettes. Funny enough, my daughter about 2 days ago came up to me and said, "Mom, I wore the Daylight palette and I loved my look on it." Girl is obsessed. The girl is obsessed. So she was waiting patiently for me to finish this video for me to hand this over to her. I personally like my Alter Ego palettes, but the main reason why I don't mind giving them to her to use is because I already have the original, so there's no point in me having the dupe. But I do have access to them anytime I want. I just go down the hall and pull them out of her drawers. So this is actually going to go to my daughter, not because I don't like it, it's because she's obsessed with these. She loves these. She likes to rearrange them. She likes the color stories. It really allows her to have fun, and she loves anything glittery. She's just like her mama. So this is going to go to my kid, but it's a beautiful palette. I already gave you guys all of my thoughts on it. I did a full dedicated video on it. And if you're interested on purchasing this one, either for the holidays, gifting it to someone, I do have a coupon code. I always say, you don't have to use my coupon code, use somebody's coupon code. But I will tell you, just from experience, this formula and these palettes are amazing for beginners and teenagers. I love how my daughter's eyes look when she wears Alter Egos because it's not too much, but it gives her enough where she's not asking me for a very, very pigmented eyeshadow. So I love the fact that she can get what she wants, and I know that she's not going to school with full-blown makeup. It's subtle enough, like I mentioned about this formula, that I am comfortable allowing her to wear it anywhere, and it's awesome. I love it. So yes, 3 uses out of it this month. Then we have the Odin's Eye Stone and Rock palette. So I only used this one time, and you guys, I really did enjoy it. There was no special occasion for me to pull out more of like these brighter greens. I didn't have any festivals, and if I did, I was testing out other palettes, or I wanted a bold lip, and obviously these brighter colors do not go with it, but I did end up using like these 2 shades right here and this one down here. The more muted, the more subtle shades in this palette is what I reach for, and I really do like it. I like it. I don't love it, but it is there, and I appreciate this palette for what it is. So it gives me enough of what I want without it being too much. So I only used it one time, but at least I got another use out of it. This one was a new one to me. This is the Sydney Grace Eastern Fall Palette. So this one I only used one time, and I loved the look that it came out with. Sydney Grace has sophisticated eyeshadow formula. They're like on par with formulas like MAC and Estee Lauder and Clinique, like those kinds where they're more sophisticated Lancome, where you know you're going to get a beautiful look. You're not going to get a lot of textures. You're not going to get a lot of flakiness. You're not going to get a lot of glitter everywhere. It's more of like your sophisticated look, but they they pack a punch. They really do pack a punch. You gotta be very subtle with this. And the look that I came out with is beautiful. I didn't know how this was gonna work, but I really did like it. I really did enjoy this formula and this palette as a whole. Oh, it's very beautiful. I loved it. I loved it. And I actually was tempted to pull this one back out, but other things got in the way. Here's another one I pulled out. This is the Melted Gemini. This was a gift from one of you guys, and I'm so excited that I get more use out of this one. This is beautiful. It's a palette that I have to really want to pay attention to because the formula is so pigmented that I can't be in a rush with this one. So this time around, because I had the Stone and Rock in from Odin's Eye and I used more greens, for this palette I concentrated more on this side. And I love this shade. This shade called Polka Dot, it's just my favorite. It's really, really beautiful. It's funny how this shade is one of my favorites in Polka Dot, but this shade in green is called Leo, even though my boy was this color. So every time I open this palette, I think of Leo. And it just so happened to be that in October was his 1-year anniversary of passing. So it was fitting for me to pull this palette out in his memory. I did like it. I really did like it. There's nothing wrong with this palette. It is beautiful. I enjoy it. I love the artwork. It just everything about it. It's beautiful. So I'm very happy that the one and only melt palette that I have is the one that I truly enjoy. All right, then we pulled out the Anastasia Fall Romance palette. This one went out with me on date night. And you guys, I love the look. Okay, this crimson color was gorgeous all over my eyes. And I put this one in the crease, and then I ended up getting a different shade for topping it off from a different palette, but it was beautiful. I loved it. This color Mulberry, surprised me. I really, really like that one too. Kind of mixed this one with this one. Loved it, you guys. I really enjoy this one, and it is so pigmented. You need the tiniest bit of the stuff coming out of here. It's gorgeous. I love this for date night fall. Kind of reminds, it was perfect because I wore like a black jumpsuit with it, and the restaurant we went to was very bougie and like high end, where I kid you not, you guys, I kid you not, it took us 2 months to get reservations, 2 months. And if you're wondering why, Alex, would you go to a restaurant that you gotta wait for 2 months? We got a gift card for it. So we wanted to use the gift card, and that's why we waited the 2 months to finally get in the door. We got into the restaurant. It was so kind of dark and dim, like you could barely read your... I felt like I was an old lady where I couldn't see my menu. I had to come out with my flashlight on my phone to see what I could order from, and everything was like a la carte kind of thing. You know, one of those fancy schmancy restaurants. So this was the perfect palette for it because the lighting was so dim. Ain't nobody seeing my eyeshadow. All you saw was like the glistening on my eyelids. So it didn't matter how I blended. I did good anyway. So I love this one. I really do. I only used it the one time. Then we had the Golden palette. This was so pretty. You guys, I came out with a look using this one where I just use like these two on like this one in the, where are my fingers? This one in the crease and then this one all over the lid. And then I ended up using this one as an inner corner highlight. And it gave me such a wide awake, alive look, very subtle, but put together. And but it made my eyes look like I was wide awake. And it was perfect for that. The day that I picked this specifically, I'm glad I did because I had to be up at 5 a.m. to get to work. And I knew I was going to be exhausted. I knew I was going to look tired. And this palette just did it for me. It did it for me, and it was perfect for that specific day. So I'm very happy. I only used it one time, but I was wanting to use this one more, and I just never got a chance to. Then we have the Naked, I Need a Warm palette, not the Naked palette. Come on, Alex. So this one, I'm trying to remember what I used on this one. I think I ended up using this shade with this one all over the lid, I believe. Yeah, I think I just used a very simple look with this one. I'm trying to get myself off of the very, very warm tones into more of like your neutral, cooler tones, because now that we're getting into cooler weather, I'm trying to let go of my warm tones. I'm trying to let go because I know that the time is coming where I'm going to start losing my tan even more. So I need to let them go. So I did a very, very soft look with this one. It's one of my favorites, you guys, and I still continue to enjoy it. I love that one a ton. Then we had the Harry Potter one, you guys. I actually love this one a lot. I only used it the one time. No, I used it twice. I used this one 2 times. I really liked it. So when I first showed you guys this palette, this green shade had a glittery blue. There's a glittery blue that originally went in here. I swapped it out because I didn't like that glitter. It wasn't like your new glitter that ColourPop has. It's like, it was the old chunky glitter. So I pulled that one out and put in a different palette. I just touched the black. So I ended up putting in this green and I love the look. I actually did one look with you guys on a Get Ready With Me and I used this palette and the look was very, very pretty. I ended up using the greens in here. Very, very pretty. And then the second look, I ended up going up here. So I get such versatility with this palette. It's a lot of fun. It's a shame I didn't get more than 2 uses out of it, but looking at it, it's so pretty. Like this green right here, I just want to put it all over my lid as a one and done kind of thing. It looks so, so pretty. So I'm excited because it's not just warm tones in here. I also get cooler tones like this one in the crease. It just looks so pretty. And I just realized that the names are on the back. Huh? They're on the back and the front. They're funny. Enchanted Keys, Gillyweed, Slytherin. Oh, which one's Slytherin? Oh, the one that I liked is called Slytherin. I had no idea, you guys. I just learned something new. So anyway, I ended up using this one 2 times, and I'm happy that I reached for this one. This is the perfect time of year for this one. So I can actually keep this out for the month of November. Last but not least was a palette that I purchased during my vacation, and it took forever for it to get to my home. So by the time that it arrived to my house, school had already started, and the palette literally was around for a blink of an eye and it was gone. So I never thought to do anything with it because I knew you guys couldn't get it. It was a new release, but it was like literally a week of a new release, and then that was it. That's the Beauty Bay Botanical. And fun fact, you guys, after my declutter, this is literally my only Beauty Bay palette that is intact. The Beauty Bay palettes that I did get rid of, some of them I ended up depotting the shades that I wanted, and other ones I got rid of as a whole. So this is the only one that I kept completely intact, nothing pulled out of it, and the only one in my collection. And oh, besides the big large one, I mean this size. This is the only one. I do have one more that's the bigger one, the jaded one. I've used this one now 4 times. So I used it 4 times. And in those 4 uses, I think I used every shade but this gray. Every other shade in this palette has been used. And it's been a while, you guys. It's been a long time and this is why I got rid of all of my other Beauty Bay palettes, because I realized that I only would reach for certain shades in them. And that's why I just depotted those and kept the ones that I wanted and got rid of the rest. This one, every single shadow in here got touched, and every single shadow I used. I can genuinely say that I do like this palette as a whole. Even this gray corner right here is really pretty. And I noticed that these grays are not, how do I describe it? They're not so strong and potent. This is like a gray brown, which grounds this corner right here for me so well, that these grays are so wearable in the way that I like to use grays. You guys know I love a brown gray, or a gray brown, however you want to put it. But I don't like a straight gray. So maybe this is why this is the only one I haven't touched, but that would be a beautiful inner corner highlight. But the amount of gray in here that I have, it's not so deep and so smoky. I think that's why I love it. This is the darkest color, and I ended up mixing this one with this shade right here, and I ended up getting this really light raspberry color. So pretty. I completely unexpected. Put this one in the crease and on the outer edge, and then put this one on the outer. It just turned out so beautiful. And this one is a shifty shade. On camera, it looks purple, but if you look at it on a different angle, it's like green. I don't know, can you guys see? Well, how can I do this? How can I do this to show you guys? See it right there? It looks like it's green. So it's like a shifty shade in there. So you get a bonus with the shifty shade in there. This is another one that's a shifty shade. On camera, it looks yellow, but if you turn it, it looks, you see it in the mirror, it looks like it's a purpley blue shade. It's really pretty. I think that they did such a phenomenal job with this one. By far my favorite, because I can use it as a whole without having to say, oh, I really don't like that shade, or oh, I'm not going to get that much use out of it, or this is too dark for me, or it's not practical for me to use on an everyday. I used this 4 times, brand new 4 times, and I used all the shades except for that one. Beautiful. Very, very surprising, this one. And I do feel like this goes for spring or for fall. So it goes for both. I don't think this is necessarily one or the other. I think I can use this half the year I don't see it so much in the winter time, but I could be wrong because of these silver. So I see this very versatile, you guys, and it's a shame because they don't, I believe this is no longer available, but I did want to share it with you guys because I did use it. All right, guys, so those are the palettes that I used this past month. I really had a lot of fun with this series. It allowed me to just play around in my collection, pull out palettes, see what is staying, and that was my whole point of me decluttering, because I had so much months in and I knew what I liked and what I didn't like. I was so happy. I'm very happy with the ones that I've kept. So next month, yes, next month, I had to think about it. Next month, I will give you all the statistics. I will show you guys, I will pull out all the palettes that were most used, whether they were in a project pan or not, when I naturally reached for them versus they were being in a project pan, which ones are the ones that I wish I would have used more, so on and so forth. So I'll give you all of my statistics because I kept track since the beginning of this year, and I will share with you guys which ones out of there also got decluttered. I used them, but I still was ready to let them go. So there's quite a few of those as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll put these down in the description box, and let me know what palettes you used this past month that you really were happy to pull out and enjoy. I am excited, you guys. The holiday season's around the corner. You know that Christmas movies has been going on. I'm about to plug in the Christmas music. Movies and music. I know Mr. Man's been whistling Christmas songs already in October, and I was shocked because that man is anti-Christmas before it's meant to be, and I'm excited he's on board this year. All right, guys, that's all that I have. Another video on the screen for your enjoyment. Until then,